Okay, that's a quick guess. Were you anticipating, and obviously the Overlord Scout too, right? So, were you
Yeah,
looking
I
for
went
that?
I went 17-17, and I just wanted to be safe against the Raxes.
Yeah.
Also with the scouting pattern, sometimes when you go pool first, you just send the first obvious straight. But since this build doesn't include so many links, it's only 4 links when I do it.
Okay.
So I want to see the Rax count. So if it's actually 3 Raxes, I kind of like to just go fast roaches.
Mm-hmm.
And against 2 Raxes, just pull drones and it should be fine. I don't actually have too much experience, but I
It should. It
definitely think
looks like it should be
two
fine, right? Feels like it.
yeah. I like this is what Rogue did against TY a lot in BlizzCon,
Mm-hmm.
and TY I think he defended TY's proxy 2 Rex twice. So yeah, I'm pretty confident. I've been playing with this build actually a lot for the past year.
That's awesome. And otherwise, what are you looking to do with his links? And is it
Mm,
reliant on him not CV scouting? I guess that's kind of the very common.
yeah, I mean no one really has CV scouts,
Mm-hmm.
but even if they do, these links are uses. I mean it's not that bad. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, ideally you would like to kill the CC building as CV,
Yeah.
but in this case he leaves the Reaper back, and I just don't do anything with my links, and it's completely fine.
Yeah.
Also,
How often do you feel they leave the Reaper back?
uh, basically not ever. Like the Reaper comes always. I think this was the first time for a very long time someone actually left the Reaper back.
Yeah. So it almost feels like you were both playing extremely safe here. Maybe he was also confident going into this game, or playing to his strengths. I don't know, but yeah.
He did the same in every game, basically every
Oh,
game he
with the
went
Reaper.
macro. Yeah, every game. I should have just punished him probably with 12 full Ravager or something in the last game, but yeah, he did this every game.
That would have been fantastic. Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so nothing of significance, but this is gonna put you a little bit behind, right? Like the way this all lined up.
Mm, yeah, I mean, it's not bad or anything, but obviously it's not something I'm thinking I'm ahead now or anything. But
Right.
like this is a completely fine game. That doesn't really matter out too much.
Okay.
Obviously, it's not ideal, but
Uh huh.
I don't really care too much.
Okay. Do you often see yourself as ahead or behind in a game? Is that useful to you? A useful process to you?
Mm, I don't see myself behind. I mean, I'm not thinking too often that I'm behind, but obviously
Okay.
if I see I'm ahead,
Mm-hmm.
I,
You can
I will get,
capitalize.
yeah, I can capitalize on that for sure. For example, if I can delay the factor with some
Yeah.
early link pressure, I know I can skip links for
Mm-hmm.
longer, and that's just basic stuff. And just knowing when you can actually build more drones because of early game leads you got.
Perfect. I was thinking an example of a game where you were clearly behind and it felt like you were clearly on top of it was against Raynor when you turtled up in. I think that was the game before the finals, right, where he was really far ahead.
Mm, yeah, I think so.
And then you kind of just you knew, right? Like you knew you were pretty far behind, it seemed, and then you were. It seemed as if you were trying to find ways to come back actively.
Mm, yeah, I mean, it was muta play, so I have to stay defensive anyways. But yeah, I knew I was behind, and I mean the only way to get back in a CVC where you are behind is to make lurkers and play very defensive.
Indeed. Awesome. Okay, so how are you feeling at this point in the game? Like, is there anything noteworthy right now, or is everything just transpiring
Well,
as you
you
would
could go
like?
back a bit to like 340 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the overworld. I think I see the cloak fancy coming, right?
Let's see. You see the start port, and that
Yeah,
it's
I see
tucked in.
I see it blinking.
Hey, you see it
Yeah,
blinking.
yeah, I go insta layer in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I get the scout this early, I can normally deal with the banshee with one spore, and it's pretty good.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Do you look at the clock when you do something like this, or is it just a feeling? Like
I do look at the clock, like
Mhm.
let's say first 5 minutes I look at the clock a bit, but
Okay.
not really afterwards I never really look at the clock. But
Yeah.
at this time I'm checking it's just before 4 minute mark,
Yeah.
like the layer is 350 and it should be very nicely timed for the first Banshee.
Awesome. So we're expecting that Banshee. Gonna.
Yeah.
And what's the Baneling Nest for here? At this point, just
Well, yeah, I make it a bit after the layer, so I get them. I mean it's mainly just a defensive bailing net in case he made more Hellions,
cool.
since I can't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't. I can't know.
Okay.
And also I want to get my bailing speed pretty quick, so I get it for the first two medivacs,
Awesome.
and that makes it pretty simple to defend all the initial pressure.
Awesome.
But I don't. This style I don't play that often anymore. Normally, I just feel like playing double Evo and layer later.
Mm-hmm.
But this is actually how I played pretty much all of my games, maybe half a year and 1 year ago,
Cool.
with the fast bailing speed. But I still do it occasionally, and it's just a bit safer variation.
Yeah, and I mean, with the Hellions coming into the mix, it seems like you had plenty of reason to do the whole thing and the early lair, right? Not taking a lot of gas. It's like, what are you gonna use the tech for? Because it's not like you're dropping a Hydra then or anything like that. You made the lair mostly for the Banshee, right? So
Yeah, pretty much. But making it for the Banshee is actually pretty important, since double Banshee can do a lot of damage if you just have one spore.
oh,
One
absolutely.
spore defense.
I loved it. I think it's I think it's a wonderful set of decisions. Like, cause you're making one important decision that you think is already worth it, and then kind of adding value to it, right? By saying, okay, like how do I capitalize? Well, the Baneling Nest, maybe I can time the centrifugal speed, and then maybe delay my tech, right? Save
Yeah.
some money there. So you are, I mean, in my view, you are finding ways still to catch up, right? You're not really spreading yourself thin at all. You're kind of just being very consistent with your ideas here. If well, of course that makes sense. You're kind of just yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I felt like, anyways, I felt like I played this game maybe a bit too safe, because at some point when we start getting maybe 2 minutes forward, you will see that I will actually be pretty drastically behind in supply. So I played this game a bit overly safe. Maybe should have skipped one queen,
Yeah.
or made a couple less links
Okay.
just to get a couple more earlier drones. But
Yeah. At one point you'll be like 40 supply behind, and before
yeah,
much happens, I guess.
I felt like maybe if he played a more siege tank heavy style,
Mm-hmm.
this game would have been pretty hard.
Yeah. Okay.
But with Widow Mines, it's actually super hard to kill anyone.
What about the push that was pretty popular for a while here? The 2-base push that sieges tanks there in between the natural and the third, and kind of just
In the middle,
Yeah.
2-base push.
Yeah. Do you think that could have capitalized on the openers, or I mean, you said the openers weren't too
No,
important, but yeah.
I don't think so. Also, with me going fast bailing speed here, I think I would have completely destroyed that.
So where do you feel you fall behind then? Or that you were too safe, maybe? Like, which investments would you cut retroactively?
Well, I made 18 links for the initial. He only made 4 Hellions. I made 18 links.
Okay.
I made 7 queens. I made quick lair and quick bailing nest
Yeah.
and 1 spore. I think I should have maybe got one queen down, and just made a couple less links probably.
Okay. So that would
And
translate
also,
into what, like 5 more drones, something like that?
yeah, I mean, it's just basically more drones. That's what you want here.
Cool.
But it's I'm not sure if it's that bad. I think this.
It looked
They were
scary.
pretty nice.
When you were behind, I mean.
Yeah, Well, honestly, I didn't watch the game that closely ever again, so
Yeah.
this is my first time I'm gonna see how behind I exactly was.
Yeah. I mean, it was the supply mostly. Your creep spread still was good, and you had a bunch of banelings. It never felt like, you
Yeah,
know.
with Baneling, yeah, it's very hard to actually push into Banelings. And at least if you play Widowman styles, just like you don't really like. If I just keep sending 10 Banes and couple links and go with my Hydras, I feel like I can always get good rates, and that's why you kind of the tanks. I feel like tanks are still the way to go, in my opinion.
Okay, that's interesting.
In case it's Hydra play.
Right, right. Because I was gonna say, what if it goes, the meta switches over to muted and tanks aren't so good, right? Or do you feel like they're still?
That's the thing. Terran can't really know which one is it gonna be too easily.
All right. So right now, you know he has a third. Do you feel like you know a lot about what he has, or are you mostly just focusing on your side of things? You're breaking every rock in the map, I think. So no chokes for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very normal game, and obviously, I probably should. I mean, I should put a bit more effort on actually trying to scout the fourth CC. And I mean, potentially just getting one overseer in the base checking is only 5 frags. But at the same time, I'm not too worried about 3 base pushes. Like even if I'm going with the attitude it's gonna be a 4 base play, I feel like you can most of the time still defend the 3 base push pretty easily.
Cool.
I go in with the overseer now, so I get the scout.
In terms of tech, is there any sort of switch that Terran could do that would worry you or that would change what you're doing, or is it pretty straightforward for you?
Not really. At this point, there's no real potential to actually do any switches. Like if you actually would start making codes, for example, now with this supply, I could just start gathering a lot of bank and keep my opponent on 4 bases for a while.
Right, and yeah, like I guess all the transitions are kind of still countered by Lingbane to an extent, right? Like Liberators are not particularly good against it, Ghosts are not particularly good against it. So.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to make the transition this fast, and there's no real reason for him to do that.
All right, so now we've added Hydras. What is the purpose of the Hydras here, just in general? Is it the medevacs? Is it just sustain DPS, not losing your army, or?
Yeah, it's just behind there to do some extra DPS mainly.
Cool.
And obviously they help with the medivacs as well. I don't think think you kill them too often. I don't think I've ever killed the medivac with the Hydra, but at least it gives the opportunity. And you can't really get any free scouting with. You can't, for example, if it's only Lingbane, you can have a.
I mean, they have to be. They have an effect, right? Because the medevacs have to be more careful still. Like keep them behind their army. Yeah.
Yeah, but mainly they are just mainly there to actually have so that you have something to hit air and just to give some constant DPS.
Yeah. Because otherwise the links are not I guess when you disengage and if they just fly away with their medevacs, they just take no damage every time, right? So
yeah,
having some range units is nice.
Yeah.
Burrow Banelings here. And there's where he has to pick up, and you almost got that one actually.
Yeah, almost. Oh, there's a Widowman drop coming now in my third base. These are actually super annoying now with the patch.
Why is that? Oh, you mean after the upgrade? Or?
I mean, this was just my bad. But that was just my bad. But actually, if you start moving your drones at the moment when they start dropping, or even like, let's say they start dropping and you start moving.
Yeah.
It's not fast enough.
Right.
They're so freaking quick.
So is it about minimizing damage, or how would you? Is it just frustrating? Is there no answer? Or?
I mean, I think I just have to. I should have. Do you see my? I can't ping even, but I should.
That's okay.
I should have allowed my third base. I mean, you see the army in my middle of the map. That's basically my harass denying. that one should be around my third place location,
Okay.
probably, to just push around the top pattern, and also for the Widow Mine drops, so the Hydras could snipe it.
Awesome. So you
And
have
in case
for your hotkeys to go over them quickly, like for your army, how do you divide them? Because you mentioned this is your harass army, or
it's the Harass defense army.
harass defense. Cool.
So I'm using three main army hotkeys. I'm not three main, but I have basically one is my one army hotkey,
Okay.
and then two is my army hotkey. Now it's working as my creep queens, but the moment I'm gonna get a army hotkey on my second hotkey, I'm gonna transfer my creep queens to W.
Okay.
And then 4 is my last army hotkey. They don't really have like anything, like I can literally have different meanings for each hotkey every time. Like sometimes I have a Pro Lords on one, sometimes I have 4. I don't have any
I
design.
imagine, is it within some constraints, or do you just swap between all of them? Like,
No, I don't think so. I just I do completely freely.
Okay, but is it then by order of priority that you organize them, or
I don't know.
like is one you're most comfortable, for example?
Yeah, one is the biggest one normally, the one that I have.
And 2 is probably second, right? And or
No,
is 3 easiest?
4 is normally 4 is the harass defense army. Most times I would say.
Harass defense army.
Yeah, and two is most likely like Vipers and Spellcasters.
Okay, awesome.
Actually, I started using the W as my creep queen hotkey just very lately, just before BlizzCon actually.
What about Q? Do you use Q to make queens, or do you have it as a hotkey?
No, I don't. I use just for making queens.
Oh, okay. I love Q, and I make my queens with F, and then I use Q for a hotkey. It's so easy. It's so good.
I use the hotkey next to 1 at the left side. I don't know what that hotkey is, but
yeah,
I never actually got used to using it.
Oh, really? That one's my favorite. That's my hatcheries.
Okay. No, I'm not using it. I mean, I'm just using basically from 1 to 6, and then W pretty much.
Awesome.
Those 7 hotkeys.
Awesome. Okay, so you've pushed them back. Now you have your 2 armies spread out. This mine is gonna go off again at the 3rd. And yeah, he has sensor towers now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you don't really need to do anything except for the more you get creep spread out there, it's just gonna make this time to move out a bit harder. But otherwise, you don't really need to take any fights. You don't need to kill a base.
And this is kind of the points in the game that we were talking about, right? Where you are visibly behind, but like in supply, but realistically, it doesn't feel like he can push into you still.
Yeah, I mean, if this is the point when I'm the most behind,
maybe it was earlier. We might have missed it.
This isn't too bad. Like, this is completely fine.
We might have missed it.
What?
The point where you were most behind. I'm not sure. Or is it later? Like here, there was a 40 supply, right?
Yeah, I think this is completely fine. I have a lot of bank. That's gonna be 20 supply easily. Getting my +2/+2 ready. I already have high spires are almost ready.
Yeah, and you have a lot of creep to buy you time as well.
So like you can push. That's why I saw little supply, because the mine dropped 2 hit, and I lost all my drones.
Oh right, yeah. So army-wise, you can still hold easily.
Yeah. If the mine drop didn't happen, I think this game would look very nicely. Very nice.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you're pretty much just in your comfort zone that you wanted to get to at this point. Are you thinking about transitions now, like into later in the game to end the game, or are you just gonna let him kill himself?
Yeah, you want to think about the transition pretty fast. And normally, I think this game I went Pro Lords.
Cool.
And I think against Widowmine play in general, it might be a better option than going Ultras.
Okay.
Even with the Ultra buff, but yeah, I still kind of like Ultras. That's kind of the way I used to play. And I still like, because it gives, like in late game, playing like Ultraling Bane Corruptor, it gives you a lot of mobility, and you can actually just play base deny. So I kind of like that more, but I feel like if your opponent's going Widow Mines, and he has Marine Marauder Widowmine.
Yeah.
Maybe add some Liberators. Ultras don't do that well. I know this is, at least this tournament I was playing Ultras a lot at the start, but I couldn't really make anything happen with those things. And with Broodlords I had a lot of success, so I think they're the way to go now.
Awesome. Hey, I'll pitch this to you because I pitch it to everyone. But have you tried using Overseers in front, like barely in front of your army, to trigger the Widow Mines or make him unburrow? Like it's like a better Baneling, right? Because you can fly right on top of the Terran army. So whenever I see like Widowmine pushes with bio, I used to like, morph like 5 Overseers, 6 Overseers. It's really sick, I promise you.
No, I haven't done that.
You should try it, okay?
Okay, maybe I'll try.
It's really sexy. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of questionable move.
Yeah, it seems like it, right? It sounds like it.
But let's say, what if he unburrows the mines? What do you do then?
Then they've wasted more actions on that, right? If they're unburrowing the mines and burrowing them again, what are they not doing in that same lapse?
Well, they just click 2 hotkeys. One's D and one's E.
I mean, it's when they have to run back and split as well, right? I'm not sure that they have enough. Maybe they have enough fingers, but I don't know. I haven't.
You mean while taking the fight, you do?
Yeah. So you put the Overseers in front of your army, like right in front. So what happens is the mines lock onto the Overseers, but the army locks onto your army because of proximity, right? So their army only locks onto the Overseers for a second. Now, if they focus fire the Overseers with the army, you win anyway, right? So
yeah,
it's super sick, but it's the timing of like where the Overseer has to be. It's like right in front of the army, right? So
well, the thing is, when you're fighting as Widow Mines, most of the times you just want to run forward with a couple of Banes and all your Hydras in this case, because I have Hydras. If it's Ling Bane, you just go with Ling Bane and just kill the Widow Mine slowly. Cool. Instead of actually doing one big push.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
Against tanks, you kind of just want to surround and go for one big push. Since
you want to chip at them here.
Small parts, since tanks just kill them. But against Widow Mines, there isn't anything to actually kill your Banelings instantly, and you can just trade cost effectively if you just send in 10 Banes and couple links all the time.
Yeah, and I think the discussion sprung because we brought up the Ultras. Like as a finisher, if you were to do that with the Ultras, like on attack, it could work, right? Like Ultras do want to run forward, right? But yeah, in this situation, in this specific situation that we see on screen, you kind of just want to sit back, I guess, and trade, right? That's what you think is best?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, you don't want to necessarily trade, but you want to kill, at least before you go in, you want to take the Widow Mine count to pretty low. You don't want to take a fight against a very high Widow Mine count.
That's because you don't take them with Overseers, though. I'm sorry. I tried to sell it to everyone. I promise. All right. So, anyway, this is, I mean, a great position for you.
Yeah, I would say it's starting to become pretty nice.
What do you feel Terrans should attempt to do in this situation, or even if they don't find themselves in this situation, but they preempt that this is where it's going, right? What's the composition they should?
First off, I think him trying to take the fifth place from the top is a mistake, and he should go to the bottom right, because this is the place where he has his map control. This is where his main army is. So I think if he took the bottom right, which he actually took a bit later, that would have been way better, because he just can't defend the top base.
Right, it makes perfect sense.
He can't even get the base in this case.
Yeah, because there's the burrowing.
Yeah, and also have my second army there.
The harass defending.
Yeah. Yeah, so. But yeah, what he should go for? I mean, he's adding W the Coast Academy, so he's going for Liberator Coast now. Liberator now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's gonna be a bit of a transition. It's not gonna happen fast, but yeah, I think this is exactly what you should do.
Perfect. So he could have been more consistent with where he's expanding and moving, I guess, with his movement. and Liberator goes to transition, I guess, right? And then what, siege from the bottom base onto your side of the map with Liberator goes type thing?
Yeah, I think killing the bottom base should be pretty easy for or my 5th base to the bottom. The clock 6 base should be pretty easy for him.
And it's an important one. If he can secure it, then he can secure half map, right? That would be, and he could maybe fight for his base with tanks or something from the low ground at the 12.
No, I think the top base shouldn't be tried to take now.
No, just later, I mean. Like if he was to
I mean,
start
obviously
securing
he can
bases.
take it at some point, but not right now, having one tank maybe on top of there. I mean, I mean, in case I would take that base, then you would just want to have one tank on top to kill my mineral line.
Yeah, and otherwise, what if he was just consistent and moved with his army towards the top? Would you favor that base then over the bottom one? If his army was at the top, the base that he's trying to take, the 12 o'clock, would you think that that's a good base if his army was moving towards your top left corner base?
Well, I don't think there's any reason to move for my top left base, because then I would just get the whole map control of the bottom side of the map. I would get the middle base, I would get bottom right, and like if you actually saw at like 7-minute mark, I double expanded. I took my 5th and 6th at the same time.
Okay.
Just because I feel like most of the times
one will die.
You lose one of
And awesome.
But you can't kill both of them because you can't be on both sides.
Right. Okay.
So like if I'm gonna lose my top base, I'm not gonna care too much about that.
You would rather lose that one because the bottom one has 2 bases extra.
Yeah, the bottom. I just feel like if I get the control of the bottom, if I get my creep close to his 4th base, I just feel like that's a very good spot for me.
Awesome. That's so much insight. Thank you.
Yeah, there I took the fight with couple Banes. Wasn't the best one, but I think I was still trading pretty good.
For sure. And now you're just waiting for Broodlords. Do you ever go Vipers or something like that?
In this? Well, I think I went by 3 Vipers, but cool. I don't think they're that good in this case. I would just like to see Infestors probably in this case.
Oh, cool.
Against tanks it's obviously Vipers, but against Widowmine style, I think Infestors might be the way to go. Maybe with 1 Viper or something.
Awesome. Is that something that you think about in retrospect? And when the game ended, were you like, oh, I should have gone Infestors? Or, I mean, obviously it doesn't matter, but this mindset.
I mean, that's what I thought, and I think against this, the thing is that I can't really catch this army, and he doesn't really care about the Widowmines like he does about the tanks.
Yeah.
So he can just always run back and sack the Widowmines. They're practically free, and they're gonna always trade decently. So I can't really catch him without Infestors.
Okay, awesome. The Vipers would do like a crappier job, right? Because there's like, I guess you could abduct Medivacs to just apply pressure on him.
I'd abduct Medivacs and Blinding Cloud, but it's not that good.
Yeah. So tanks, obviously the Vipers will gain value because of the cloud and because the tanks are so expensive that abduct is pretty worth. Good. So he insisted on that base. He's finally gonna take it, it seems, but that's so delayed.
Yeah, he can't get the base. He can. It's literally impossible. Because then he needs to sack
your
the map
creeps
control
there. That's gonna be so scary.
He needs to sack the map control from the bottom, and that's when the game I feel like that's when it gets out of his control.
Yeah.
The game.
Awesome.
I think he should just try to get the bottom base, bottom right, and then the middle base. Those are the 2 bases he should be focusing on instead of this top base.
The bottom middle?
Yeah, the middle base was still free. There's 2 bases free on the bottom.
I see. So if he got the bottom middle one, should he switch to tanks and siege from there, or?
Well, I think he should have played tanks from the start.
Right.
But yeah. Yeah, I think obviously that's what I can't let him take the middle base. That's when I actually start losing the game. But that's what he should try.
Right.
But obviously,
That's really cool. You're thinking about it in terms of like where the base layout and stuff like that. Like this is pretty fairly rare to like to like get a lot of insight and change stuff to like where players think the game basically lies as a win condition later on. Like this is yeah, awesome. So
yeah, now he loses the top base again. There's just no way he can really take that.
and I'm not saying, yeah, I'm not, you know, to pros watching. Pros are, I'm sure Lambo in chat is like, oh, Serral's not the only one that does this, cats. I'm like, it's okay, Lambo. We'll do your breakdown too, I'm sure.
Is Lambo in the chat?
No, but I can just imagine Lambo, you know, being like offended that I didn't think he would take this sort of thing into account because, yeah, he's Lambo the king.
No Lambo in
He's
the chat.
Okay,
I would
we're
have said some words, but because he wasn't
some choice
no
words.
reason.
Or I mean, I'm sure he'll watch.
I'll pass.
Okay. Were you talking to Lambo for this one? I feel you were talking to Lambo a lot for the BlizzCon finals, right?
I wasn't really talking with anyone about too much about this area specifically. I mean, Lambo, I was talking maybe. We talked a little bit Lambo, but not too much.
Okay.
I don't think I prepared too much for this series, to be honest.
Yeah, you looked really relaxed. Do you feel like, yeah, and I'm not sure if this is, do you feel like this is worth talking about, or can we just keep talking? This is the Broodlord push. It looks like you're feeling really confident going far off of creep, I would say. It's even going in forward with the Banes.
Pretty unnecessary by me, and this is basically the only way to lose the game at this point.
Right.
So it's not this, like, if I would just get free spread now to the bottom side of the map, and deny, I would just keep denying his fifth base. There's really no way to lose this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I can't really lose this game even if I attack, but yeah, I feel like
was it kind of a like get out type move, or?
Not really. I mean, I guess I just wanted to push before he actually gets an answer to the Broodlords.
Okay.
Because I felt like maybe there was a window. But that was a bit of a risky move. Since my army wasn't that great, it was just 5 Broodlords plus some Lingbane Hydra.
Yeah.
With a couple of Vipers.
I mean, still, it was like he had like a lot of like really good Widowmine connections on all the Banes. I would say like that went about as well as it could have for him, and still, it's a good trade for you, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, getting the base is always because he doesn't have another CC, so it's obviously a good trade. But it's still a questionable move to move across. Like if you want to play that kind of game from game safe, you just keep denying the fifth base, and like there's no real way you're gonna lose a game like that.
Cool. And it does give him this little window where maybe he feels he can do something where there's no creep, as you were mentioning, so he pushes freely onto this base, and you know, maybe if he had a little bit more, he could have punished.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he had more, he could have punished me, but he didn't have nearly enough air.
Yeah.
Also, after I got my Broodlords, I was very lazy on actually getting any creep. I didn't really make any tumors anywhere. So that was a big mistake from my part, but maybe I felt like the game was over at that point when I got the Brutes. Can't remember exactly.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, you seemed really relaxed, really just having fun at Home Story Cup. Like you were feeling no stress. I want to say after BlizzCon too, like you have you remade your signature and started tweeting a little bit more. Do you feel like when you accomplished that, when you accomplished BlizzCon, just a weight was lifted off your shoulders, or?
Maybe little, not too much though. But obviously it was a relief.
Awesome. All right. Well, that was that game. So yeah, thank you so much for doing this with me and with us and for the people. If you have any parting words, please. And otherwise, thank you again so much. You're awesome.
Yeah, thanks for asking me to do this as well. Obviously, I was a bit wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, but I think because I wasn't sure if you can get too much out of me, but hopefully it was helpful
I think
to
we got
some
a ton.
extent.
I think it was awesome, dude. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Good
to
night.
you again.
Bye bye.
Yeah, good night. Bye bye.
All right, guys, that was Serral for you. I feel like that was pretty great. That was yeah.
Are you dumb in the